First, the record. On an April night in 1912, of about 2,200 people aboard, around 1,500 were lost. We begin here, quietly, because every drawing in this catalog begins with what it cost. The largest ship ever built, and it was called practically unsinkable. Not because anyone was foolish, but because the math, on paper, was genuinely good. Let me show you the math, and then the one thing it left out. The hull was divided by 15 walls, called bulkheads, into 16 watertight compartments. By design, it was meant to stay afloat with any 2 flooded, or even, the builders believed, the worst 4. On paper, the sea could not fill it faster than the design allowed. Here is the first quiet flaw, exactly where the drawing left it. Those walls did not reach the top deck. They stopped a few decks up, like the dividers in an ice cube tray. Fill one section past the top of its wall, and it simply pours into the next. If you would rather understand why things fail than watch them fail, subscribe. A new failure is drawn here every week, and each one is a reason you are safer than you know. Now the material no one could see. 3 million rivets held the hull together. Most were steel, but along the bow and the stern they were hand-driven wrought iron, and that iron carried far too much slag, the glassy residue of smelting. Metallurgists who later studied rivets from the wreck found about 9%, where 2 or 3 is good practice. Slag makes iron brittle, and brittle metal hates the cold. In water near the freezing point, those rivet heads were closer to snapping than anyone knew. The flaw was set the day the hull was built. Now the load. An iceberg sighted by the lookouts about 37 seconds out. The ship turned and instead of a head-on hit, it scraped along the starboard bow at about 22 knots. Watch where the force goes. It was never the long gash of the movies. The flexing popped the brittle rivet heads and sprang the plate seams in about 6 short places, opening, by the shipbuilder's own 1912 estimate and later sonar of the wreck, only about 12 square feet to the sea. A handful of small openings, exactly along the weakest line. 5, then 6 forward compartments filled. The ship was built to survive 4. As the bow settled, the water rose to the top of a low bulkhead and poured over into the next compartment, and the next. The ice cube tray overflowing 1 cell at a time. The cause chain was plain. Brittle rivets along the bow, seams that sprang in the cold, bulkheads too low to hold the water back, and lifeboats for barely half aboard. Decades later, metallurgists pulled rivets from the wreck and confirmed the slag. And here is why your crossing is safer. Within 2 years, the world wrote new law: lifeboats for everyone aboard, a radio watch kept around the clock, and an ice patrol that still flies today. Later, bulkheads were carried higher, hulls doubled, and steel and rivets made tougher and cleaner. Failure mode. Hull breach, sprung seams. Brittle rivets, a glancing blow, and walls that did not reach high enough. Nothing breaks without a reason. Now you know this one. Drawing filed. Like and subscribe to support the channel.